A lot of people are familiar with this story. It's a continuing story. The numbers are not encouraging. Over 300,000 cases around the world, and the number is rising. Now, following the news yesterday that we were also going to take a very, very serious look at the whole matter, we haven't quite entered into lockdown in those two cities, but it just might be happening shortly. And so that prospect of how would we survive, because it is well known that we are a daily living kind of society. So we joke among ourselves that it is what you make today that you will eat with today. And you pray. And then you go back again. You do some more work. You get a little more money. You eat. That is the way it is said to be with, I don't know what, the economists will probably know the figures, but I'm sure this is clearly much more than 50% of us. So let's look at this scary prospect, as it were. The effect, your thoughts, and of course, what would this program be without your contribution from home? So this really concerns you because we do want to hear from home how you are receiving the news and what kind of preparations you think can be made if indeed it were to come to that. And the thing that has happened in the UK where it has been locked down between 24 hours of maybe, maybe not. Now, as of this morning, it is indeed the situation. Mukhtar, would you like to take a first stab at it? The whole prospect of a shutdown, even though we aren't there yet, but there's no reason to be overly optimistic.
Yeah, like you made an example of the UK, even some days ago, California City in the US was happened to be the headquarters of economic activities, the largest contributor to the GDP of United States of America. Had the mayor had to come out and be begging the governor, said no, nobody should come out. We're talking about 46 million people on a total shutdown. If it happened in this country at the moment, it's going to be very, very, I don't know what to use, but it's going to really affect a lot of people. We're talking about almost like 70 to 80% of Nigerians depend daily for their survival, daily survival. That's what they depend on. Mm-hmm. Now, are we going to get there? The figures are not encouraging, but the figures are not yet alarming. If you look at the history, where it's coming from, how it started in other countries, the number compared with our own, how it started. And I think we have taken one very huge decision, damning the economic consequences of that decision, the shutting down of our international airspace.
Yes.
It's very huge, and I think it was a decision that the government needed to take, even if at a point there was counter incoming that, oh no, we get certain criteria have to be met before you're allowed to come down. But at the end of the day, the government said, no, we want a total shutdown. Knowing that this is not a Nigerian virus. I don't want to use the Trump in English that call it a particular country virus. It's not a Nigerian virus. And so it's more or less like we are importing it into our country. So when we stop the people from coming in, I think we'll be able to curtail it. I think the challenge now is the people that have come in, how much are we monitoring and managing them? That is where the Nigerian government has a big challenge. But I think it's not time for the government to put a lot of fear in the citizens, making them feel that, look, things are getting out of hand. I think now what people need is a message of courage, message of encouragement, telling them the simple procedures that they need to do. That will even encourage people that have symptoms to be able to come out and say, let them know that coronavirus is not a death sentence. It's something that is curable. It has been proven that you're talking about a total percentage of almost 300,000 people that have been infected by coronavirus. I think the total number of deaths is not even half of that 300,000.
No, it's about 14,000.
So many people have gone into it and they have survived. They are living a normal life. So we need to put that into the people so that people will not be scared of saying, oh, if I put myself up for screaming, I'll be locked down, I would die in that center. I think that's the message the government should be preaching now, so that people can easily come out and give themselves for independence screening.
Okay, well, Mayako, the message, the press statement that was given by the Secretary of the Government yesterday did indicate that, well, Mr. President was very, very concerned, and therefore all whatever needs to be deployed will indeed be deployed, and that they were focusing on equipment, kits, medical supplies. So I didn't get a sense of panic, but I'll wait to get your reaction in the sense that they were saying that the statement stopped short of actually forbidding moving around. It stopped short of that. It was a strong advisory, which therefore left the door open for the time being. But doctors are telling us that they are asymptomatic cases, asymptomatic cases where no symptoms are manifesting, but it's still possible to transmit the disease. And I was listening to a doctor this morning who was saying that the country is vast, and we shouldn't think that if a person lands at Abuja airport, Lagos airport, whatever the airport, that he's just going to be within those confines. A person might need to go to the furthest point of the country. So this is actually scary. Now, we know all of this, but would you look for a moment, please, at the picture, the picture of if we ever got to that stage, because that's what I think we're going to be deploying all our efforts to not get to the stage where a shutdown will be necessary, even though I have no doubt in my mind that should the authorities determine that it is indeed necessary, they would take that decision. But it's in everybody's interest, isn't it, for us not to get to that stage?
Well, I would say just as contracting coronavirus is not necessarily a death sentence, a shutdown is also not a death sentence in that sense. I will give you some context. The first 3 months of coronavirus, we had 100,000 cases testing positive. The next 100,000 took only 12 days. Getting from 200,000 cases to 300,000, do you know how long it took? 3 days.
This is the whole point.
That means...
Is that not the one that you people refer to as exponentially?
Exponential growth, yeah. So if the government is beginning to show concerns, it's because it's warranted. Like a week or two ago, I've advocated for having to restrict movement on a wider scale. It took the government too much time, most people will agree, to actually shut down our borders, stop all international flights coming in. A friend was telling me, if they do that, that means Nigerians will be stranded outside. But for crying out loud, it's not like you went to the UK. If you are stranded there, you must have some contacts there already, or you could have planned. The truth of the matter is, some of those who are now bringing that coronavirus into the country left this country less than 3 weeks ago. The bulk of them. They are the ones who can afford to go at a moment notice and come back 1 week or 3 days later, like just jokingly say, okay, I went to UK to eat suya. I then branched in France to drink palm wine or something of that nature. Now they are here. The cases are increasing. One thing we are not coming to terms with is the fact that we have maybe 40 cases now is a function of the number of tests being done, not the actual people that are ordinarily test positive.
That's another concern people have.
So it's about the availability of test kits, which are not many too. Thank God, maybe the president, like he said, believing him that maybe they've ordered for more test kits to be brought into the country. I want to believe him. So if that is available...
The problem with ordering test kits, as we've discussed on a previous program...
Yeah, it's not on the computer. It takes time to produce.
Thank you. The whole world has run out, and you have to order, and there are lead times and that kind of a thing. And whereas the global figures that are not the very, very latest, I was looking at the WHO website this morning, to put in context the round figures I was given, 334,000 confirmed cases, 14,000 confirmed deaths, and then 190 countries, areas, or territories, as they refer to them, have actually been affected. Now, that's the global figure. Here we're looking at our own situation, I think, what? 40 nationwide. But as Ruben Abati was saying in one of his articles, in an opinion piece, that this is how it started yonder. It just started, it seemed like a manageable figure.
Do you realize that as at January 24th, there were only 2 cases in the US. The first death from this coronavirus happened, I think, January the 9th or thereabouts in China. And between January 9, and that was about 10 weeks ago.
So what is going on then, it seems, is that the fact that people are moving around and can infect, infect people, whether knowingly or unknowingly, is a crucial factor. We are told that China has not reported any further case. Now we know we might want to refer to it as draconian, and I don't think they are hampered by democracy or anything like that. So if they tell you to stay there, you stay there. And now they're announcing that there are no increases in infections.
For me, I think the world is where it is today because China didn't do what they ought to do. Because if you look at the genesis of the coronavirus, it came all the way from China. There was a doctor in China that is dead now that called the attention of the state to a certain virus that is going to be very catastrophic to the economy of China. And that doctor was sent to be like an enemy to the state, and he was arrested. And I think is it about 3 weeks ago or a month ago, the doctor passed on to having had a lot of contact. So China itself, because of its draconian nature, did not tell the world the real sense of it. So the world was not prepared for it. The world wasn't prepared because remember that this thing started in December up to January, February. The world was still looking at it as a virus. We started taking note of this thing, I think sometime in the end of January, the world came at alert that, look, this is really a serious case. And at that time, they allowed their citizens, remember again at that period, why China had to do that, it was concerned with their New Year calendar. And a lot of visitors, a lot of Chinese all over the world were coming in there and they were going back to their countries. That is the problem. To say China is not telling us that we don't have one single case, we have brought down our hospitals, I don't trust the Chinese any longer, because if they have done the right thing, we wouldn't have. If they have looked at the virus as a global virus, taking the World Health Organization, putting everybody at ease at it, I think would have found a solution to it.
Yeah.
So for now, I think we should take their...
You know, this is not the time for the blame game. But people can't help themselves. There are people who are saying that, look, we have the problem that we have because somehow they were missed at the entry point. If the mesh had been sufficiently small to not have allowed it, in other words, the cases that have then gone on to affect other people, because doctors have told us about community infections, that is, people who never went in, they didn't go out of the shores of the country.
For me, I think it's easy to blame.
Yeah, that's why I say it's not about
China
but that point has been made.
Issues.
There are people who are commenting that in our case, in the case of Nigeria, because you were saying how we had only 2 back in the day about in January. So look at us now, and there are people who are saying that it's not that one wants to blame, but just looking at what happened, and saying that they managed to come through the net.
Yeah. Even if we bring it home, the first case in Nigeria was February 28th. We said there was somebody from Italy that tested positive. We did contact tracing. About 39, 40 people that had direct and indirect contact with the particular Italian in question, they were quarantined. But what then did we do? We left our borders open. We said we are not going to restrict movement, even when other countries had started to do it. US started by saying, okay, all flights from China should stop.
Yes. Gentlemen, I understand all of this, but looking at the effect of a possible shutdown
on the economy.
On the economy, 1, on the stomach, 2, on the well-being of people, bearing in mind that which I said at the very beginning, which is that we're a daily paid society.
Well, I think...
And so when science says that the right thing to do is to shut down,
and economics is...
And the economics is that
there will be a bigger price to pay.
Yes.
When you look at the developed economy, why they are saying shut down, they make provision for the people. Let me give you an instance. The U.S. economy that is going on a shutdown. The president has already released about $1 trillion to meet the need of people that are not earning up to $70,000 per annum. They have the statistic, they have the data. all other people will be given $1,000 for not even going to work, for just staying indoors. Remember, again, there will still be foods that will be taken from houses to make sure that you have NGOs. And even in the UK, football clubs are coming together saying that our fans are at home, we can decide to give them back something.
That's right.
Those are the type of thing that is easy to do a lockdown, because that means government is responsible. Now, you want to lock down. Let me give you, I have some states that have been locked down now. A state like Niger State, complete lockdown. Complete. Even it's like a coffee. The governor said from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., nobody should go out. Now, because of proximity to Abuja. Kaduna State is also doing that, a total lockdown within 24 hours. No market should be open unless medical, maybe chemists. Now, it came so suddenly, and the government is not doing anything to the people that will be at home.
So how do you keep them at home? And this is the crux of the matter.
Okay, I'm going to. We have our CBM said they are going to economic intervention, stimulus package. At this moment, stimulus package should not be going to, even if it's going to a particular sector of the economy. It is now that we need to see the stomach infrastructure. That's what the people need now. The stomach infrastructure.
Yeah, and the crisis in this is that we used to talk about stomach infrastructure in terms of those who couldn't provide adequately for themselves. Now with a lockdown, it'll be everybody. I see people around. Some people took it very seriously. Even as of last week, you won't believe. a neighbor of mine bought 3 giant baskets of tomatoes. What she's going to do with it, I don't know. She's probably going to grind it or put it in a freezer.
I'm just coming back. I passed a supermarket in my area. The kind of traffic.
Yeah.
Only that spot of that supermarket.
So they're going to buy everything off the shelf.
They want to buy everything on the shelf, but like one pointed out just now, how many Nigerians can afford to buy everything and stay at home for 30 days?
I think the government has their work cut out for them, if they are really about the people. You know, I listened to the address by the head of the government response team. You know, the first thing they talked about was the cancellation of Federal Executive Council team. That's not what we are talking about, the council meeting every week. It shouldn't be about you. It should be about the people. What are you going to do about the common man on the street? We are all Nigerians. You know, it's easy to think, okay, this is a big man's problem. Or if you didn't travel out to the UK, maybe you are exempted. You know, somebody somewhere is the cook to the senator that just came back. There must be some form of interaction. Like he rightly said, people live on a daily basis, on a subsistence basis. Whatever they earn today is what they use to feed their families. So when we choose to lock down, how will these people be impacted?
It's not that we will choose, though. It's not that we choose, though. It's that we will be forced. And we're hoping that it doesn't get to that
government
stage.
Is conscious of that. I think that's why maybe they are delaying the inevitable.
Like Uncle Henry said, it's not a matter of delay. If you want to handle a situation, you hand it head on, like if it was already happening, as a serious government. Listen, we are in this problem because governance in everywhere never took this serious. They never thought it was going to come
except China.
Because if you looked at when we had Ebola in Africa, the United States of America at that time with Barack Obama as the president was prepared. Despite Ebola was not in the US. They were trying to do research, do vaccination, but now what we see is that every leader thought it was a China problem. China will sort of their problem. They are forgotten. I think the message China is sending to the whole world is that we are now not just an economy. We are among the superpower economy of the world. Everybody has something to do with China. So once you have come into China, you have everything to do with China. So that is the message that has been sent to us. So now, is Nigeria prepared for it?
Well, we're going to... They have said that all the resources that are available to us will be deployed when necessary.
Let me give you...
One second, please. Okay. Of course, hold the thought. Let me bring Olayinka, if I got the name right, in Ogba. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you. There are two things I want to say actually. The first one is, I mean, every time I tune into TVC news, I hear false with breaking news. But today I cannot hear anything false with breaking news on TVC. Because if you tune into our live television now, they're telling us that Abba Kyari tested positive to COVID-19 and Buhari has tested negative. I would expect TVC to have brought that up, but that is not coming up on your screen. That's number one. Then number two, people are talking of total lockdown. Fine. But do we have a national database in this country? Without a database, how do you know the location of your people, what they are doing, what they need, and their status in the society? I think now is the time for our journalists to begin to emphasize to people in government the importance of having a national database, so that you know the poorest of the poor, where they are located, what you are going to do for them, what you are going to give them. Now, if you tell people to go and stay in their home now, how will they survive? People cannot stay at home for 2 days in Nigeria unless you want people to die. I think government needs to begin to work on that immediately. I know this database is not so, it's not a big deal. You go to MTN, you have the data of Nigeria, go to passport offices, go to Federal Road Safety, go for our driving licenses, go to our banks, they have the biometrics. All government needs to do is to put all this data together and come up with a national database so that you have information about every Nigerian. Look at what is happening in the US, in America, in Italy. They provide food, they give food to the elderly, they send food to their homes. Can you do that in Nigeria?
All right, then. All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call. And this whole matter about, look, at the end of the day, while government is getting itself together, to do the best that it can possibly do, it has often been said that we ourselves, we are our own first line of defense. The whole admonition, the advice that don't go anywhere where there are 50 people, where you have, you can see how seriously we're saying. If people are saying that government didn't take it seriously enough, rightly or wrongly, all right, how about we ourselves? Is it because they didn't take it seriously enough,
Well,
allegedly, that we also are not taking it seriously enough? So we you know the story. Weekend, last week, Friday, there were mosque services. Sunday, there were church services. So much so that Ruben Abati said in his opinion piece that the Zimbabwe situation, where they were flogging people who had gone to places of worship in defiance of the advisory, that he was recommending it. Now, of course, he was being hyperbolic, no doubt, but still.
But I think there's this theory of division of innovation. There's no way, if you don't compel, human nature is human nature. Some people will listen.
That is compel people to live.
To do whatever needs to be done.
But that's what
even in UK, as at yesterday, they were still saying if the people do not comply,
yesterday
voluntarily, they will introduce tenor measures.
And by this morning, the lockdown.
There was a particular beach, I think maybe Bondi Beach in Australia. If you see the people coming out in their thousands, they have to shut down the beach. So it's only normal. It is now up to government to do the needful and compel people to listen.
Let's talk to Anthony, calling in from the UK. Good morning, Anthony. Anthony, good morning in the UK.
Hello, good morning. This is Uncle Yori.
Very good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, sir. I'm a first-time caller.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. You're in the UK.
And I want to use this opportunity to thank you for the good work you do, the quality of panels you bring in to discuss on issues. Thank you very much.
You're very kind,
Just
sir.
a quick one. I'll be very brief.
Sure. First of all, Anthony.
Well.
Anthony, thank you very much. But before you go, Anthony, can you hear me? UK is locked down.
It's completely, yes, it is locked down, yes. And the Prime Minister even went further yesterday to appeal to people to ensure that they stay at home. And he also explained to them the reasons why they have to do that, because they have to do that to reduce the spread. Because statistics shows that one person alone spreading it can multiply into about 400, but just one person. So if you times that by the number of people on a daily basis, that will increase the numbers. Hence, people have been advised to stay at home. But I just want to quickly expand something that the gentleman, one of your panel in the suit, said just now. He said the US, the UK, these people can be able to take those sort of actions and also back it up with support for the people. Now, you can see why we always say it is very essential for a government to know the number of citizens in a country, the people that are working, accurate data and information. In situations like this, this is when they help. It also those sort of information helps for development. Now, even if Nigeria is saying shut down, okay, you shut down. What happens to the ordinary Nigerian guy on the street that the government doesn't even know about, whether he works, whether how he lives? How is that person going to live? Last people to shut down and sit down and hold no movement. What is the provisions for them?
Indeed.
This is why we keep drumming on the issue about accurate data of people that live in the country so that it helps you in times like this and in terms of development. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Anthony. We'll go away to a quick break now. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. We'll continue to take your calls. Okay, welcome back. And just as we went on break, we hear that Ade came on the line. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for calling in.
Yes. Uncle Yori, the only solution at the moment is... Good morning, sir. The only solution at the moment is to shut down.
What's it like in Zurich?
But the problem is, as at February 18, in Switzerland, we have zero victims. But now, we are on lockdown. So, Nigerians should please listen to the government and stay at home.
Thank you very much.
Now,
yeah.
The masses is the problem. How can the government contact the masses and help them too? Because sitting at home is not so easy. It's not so easy in Nigeria, especially.
Yeah. How Ade, how are you managing your lockdown in Zurich?
Yeah, we are not only in Zurich, all over Switzerland. You know, this thing actually came in from our Italian side because we have more borders. You know, we have many borders in Europe, and from the Italian part, and some of the Italians are working also in Switzerland. About 80,000 of them are working in the Italian part, and it came into there.
Yes, continue.
And now, the only solution for us is to close down. Only supermarkets and the pharmacy are open.
Okay.
Some people that are going to work, we should not gather more than 5. If you are more than 5, the government is going to fine you. Nobody is open. But the government should try to provide a solution for the general masses, especially those people that doesn't have a job. Indeed. Because there's no way to survive in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for calling in and telling us. Okay, so she said it's not even Zurich. She's calling from Zurich, but it's all of Switzerland. Yeah. And that this matter...
I think it goes to the heart of how serious this issue is.
Now, we are saying 50. I think
Lagos State is
Lagos State has now even brought it down to 20.
Some countries are doing 5 now.
Now, that is what we just heard Ade say.
If you are more than 5,
what Ade said... You see what he said? He said the supermarkets are still open.
And pharmacies.
Pharmacies are still open. Now, the government is providing for people that are not going to work to go to the supermarket. Mm-hmm. That's one thing she didn't come out to tell us. Either they are giving them like tickets to go and get something from that supermarket that the government will pay, especially for the day-to-day people. Those are the type of intervention the government can come out clearly and say, this is what we have done. Yeah. This is the number of people we give card. These are how much was spent. Let's take a look at our own.
Sure, but as we're saying all of this, and indeed it needs to be said, the efforts that governments have made in Lagos State here and other places, schools have been closed, transport. Lagos State, for instance, 70% of their workforce, please work from home. Yeah. So that takes vehicles off the road. Even the vehicles, and that's another problem. That's another problem. Even the public transportation. We are being advised that, look, you need 6 feet and all of that. Well, Lagos State has said it has done what it can. There shall be no standing in its buses. But how about the downforce, and that kind of... So
I think it's still up to government to do a lot of things. 2 things from the callers and the discussions we've had. 2 things stand out. One is the dearth of data in this part of the world. In UK, 1.5 million people got sent letters that have underlying conditions that may predispose them to coronavirus. How did they know? That was like 3 days ago.
You mean Lagos?
No, in the UK.
In the UK, okay.
We don't have touch in this part of the world. But we can start now. I'm sure Lagos State has some data, but have they put those data on a system that will give them direct access to the people?
They haven't told us, but we were speaking with them yesterday and I think on Friday, and they said they were still actually tracing all those people that need to be traced. Lucky in Warri, I believe it is. Good morning. Lucky, good morning in Warri.
Good morning.
Okay. Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I want to contribute.
Sure.
This number of coronavirus that stands at 40 today that we are seeing in Nigeria, it's just because we have not conducted the test. If we carry the test today, in the next 2 hours, you will discover that the number would have risen up to 100. So what I will suggest to the government now is a total lockdown.
Lucky.
From one
What
state to another.
They are doing their businesses.
Lucky, are you on lockdown in Warri?
Yes, I'm in Warri.
Are you on lockdown in Warri?
No, there's no lockdown. People are still moving about. Even schools are still open here in Delta State.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for calling that in. But as for that, your theory that if to say they could have tested properly, the thing would be more than 100.
Would you start from Warri? Because they are the one that...
but thank you very much for calling in, Lucky. Is that it? Did you want to add anything else? You said the schools are open in Warri. Lucky has gone.
I think there should be a synchronization between the federal, state, and local government if you are to address this. Federal government has some ideas.
But that's
some states are taking
what Mustafa's statement was saying yesterday. That they were working in synchronicity with the other governments.
They can talk about it.
The challenge they are looking at this issue is just like what we said of Uncle Yori. They see it as a traveling issue. It's people that travel come with it. Where are those places that is prompt to receiving international visitors? They looked at Lagos, they looked at Abuja, they looked at Enugu, they looked at Kano.
Okay.
So they stopped Kano, Enugu, and Port Harcourt flight were banned immediately. People weren't coming in. Now, like you rightly said in the introduction of your program, that somebody will land in Lagos and is going as far as Ibuzo in Delta State. He's landing, he have a taxi cab that is waiting for him there. He's taking him right to his village.
Exactly.
Because he's coming for an event.
At least these are things that one needs to conceptualize.
Yes, but unfortunately, with all fairness to the federal government, I think they tried. You don't just lock up your airspace within some certain times like that, and that. Even the United States gave prior notice and said, if it gets to this point, we are going to shut down our airspace. You don't just wake up 24 hours and say, look, all our airspace are shut.
Yeah.
You don't do that because it's an international treaty. Yeah. You have to give people notice. You have to tell them why you're going to shut your airspace, even if it has to do for emergency, because there could be an emergency landing and you say your airspace is shut down. So for me, I think the government did well. Lagos State governor have tried. In sincerity to Lagos State, I think they've done their best. They are still doing their best with the way they are going, but they should go a step further, because if there's any state that needs the federal government support, it has to be Lagos.
Okay. Edward, good morning, and thank you for calling in.
Hello.
Good morning, Edward. Edward, can you hear us? Good morning.
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, please, thank you for the program. I was trying to call yesterday, but couldn't call because of the network.
Okay.
Now, this is the issue here. You know that a kind of, there's no need delaying the evil day. Things can only get worse. As a matter of fact, we end up even spending much more if we don't tackle this thing. Now it is controllable. For instance, like the man on cap said, on a national cap earlier on said, that we have 40 does not necessarily mean that the people that have been infected are 40 people. These are only people that we have access to. We're only able to know this number because we have been able to test them. But I know that we lock down as quick as possible. These things can be limited to only families of the people that have contracted it, instead of spreading to other families, so that those families eventually be quarantined, so that we can curtail it. Now, we're talking about shutdown. What do we do? Yes, we have to shut down. Yes, at a time like this, we need to shut down. How do we go about it? Government should come in. Philanthropy should come up. Religious organizations should come up. Let everybody who can see, because what you don't spend now to help the situation, you may never live to spend it yourself, even for your children. Whatever we have, let us import as much as we need, and make sure that every big and Tom is isolated in their homes. Let us distribute food and food amenities through organizations.
Well, thank you very much, Edward.
So that people will have enough to eat, at least for 30 days. It's not a big deal. Otherwise, you may end up, Nigeria, we are not, our technological robustity is not as much as that of France and other countries.
All right.
You understand? We can't control it as much as they are doing. That means we cannot take the much risk they are taking.
Okay.
That is my point.
Thank you very much for calling in, Edward. So he's saying bite the bullet now. And by the way, he's thinking the same way that Lucky, calling in from Warri, was thinking, that we're saying 40 now, that if we could have had a blanket kind of testing where we'd get automatic excellent results, the fear is that it might be more than that.
I think while we are waiting for the test kits that have been ordered to arrive, left to me, today is Tuesday, by Thursday, latest Friday, give us a 2 or 3 week lockdown of the economy.
Yeah.
You know, as much as possible.
What he has just
limit
said.
movement to the essentials. South Africa is doing 3 weeks.
Work from home if you can.
If you can, you understand.
And if you can't, still stay at home.
But government has to give credence to the
work
idea
from home
of
if you can, and if you can't, still stay at home.
Stay at home.
Did I hear, is that Tukor in Kaduna? Did I get that right? Tukor. Good morning. Tukor calling in from Kaduna. Good morning. Mr. Mohammed Tukor. I think it's a network issue.
I think the whole idea
you see, this is part of the problem. People should work from home if they can. And if they can't, they should still stay at home.
They should stay at home.
Well,
I think that's what most of the government offices are adopting. But it should go beyond
now the way we
government office. It should go into the private sector. Yeah. Some banks, I was at the bank yesterday.
You know, we have a unique...
Uncle Yorin, I drove from my house coming here. Lagos is still bubbling.
It's still a bustling city.
Bustling, like the Lagos state transport vehicle are moving the way they should move. You are seeing them, you are seeing people in the bus stop. People are still going about their normal duty, like if nothing is happening. So,
I beg your pardon. I think I can take Mr. Tukor now. Good morning, Mr. Mohammed Tukor. Mr. Tukor, good morning. We're desperately trying to connect with you. Can you hear us? You can hear all the, you can hear all those technical things. Oh dear, oh dear. So sorry about this, because I believe you got in here, but maybe there's a slight problem. So unfortunately, Mr. Tukor, if we can't get you, we can't hear you. Yeah, you were making the point that driving into this to this part of Lagos where we're in, there was little difference.
There's nothing different than what is happening. Some organizations are already doing that. I know 1 or 2 organizations that are even religious organizations that have told their staffs not to come to work any longer indefinitely. Some are held into it. Some are not able to do that, which we understand. Well, if you look at the construction sites that are going on in Lagos, People are still working.
People are still working.
So,
but this is a problem. Is this that the sensitization hasn't reached?
I think, Okunyori, it's about trust. It's about trust.
But
because the ordinary people never until we are getting to the situation of 40, ordinary Nigerians never believe that there was anything like coronavirus. Because they feel that it was an avenue for some people to corruptly enrich themselves. Especially when the Senate president went to a center that he said money was already earmarked for it and didn't see anything there. So people got a little bit apprehensive about, is it really happening? And like, even again, the spokesman for the president said something. Also, he said, why are we making noise about coronavirus? That malaria kills people every day more than coronavirus.
Well, yeah. Then that was said that malaria kills more people than have so far killed corona.
So those are insensitive statements at times like this.
You know, at the time, yeah. Well, we have this situation on our hand. We couldn't get Mr. Okay, Mazi Okorafo.
Yes.
Okay, good morning, Mazi. And we were doing nicely until the past few minutes. Mazi Okorafo calling in from Arochukwu.
Yes.
Aha.
From Arochukwu.
There you go. Good morning, sir. Please carry on. So he can hear us.
Okay, but we can't.
Good morning, Mr. Yori. Good morning, Mr. Ilo. Good morning, Mr. Mutar.
There you go.
Thank
good morning.
you, Mazi.
Welcome.
Good morning to you.
Honestly speaking, shutdown is the best option for the country.
But what will we eat?
Shutdown is option for the country because
Mazi,
the local government,
Mazi,
the
what will we
governors,
eat?
the federal government, they should try and help us to cushion the effect.
Okay.
Now you ask yourself, where is our honorable members, the senators, House of Rep members, State House of Assembly members? This is the time the Nigerians need them for this stomach infrastructure. Now you ask, I want to find out from Mr. Mutra, sir. I think government, Nigerian government, the federal government, they have what they call government warehouses because when we did our commerce and commercial law, they say government warehouse.
Yeah.
What are they in that government warehouse? Can't they bring it now and use it to cushion the effect? And all these items the customs have been seizing, all these rights, blame them. What are they doing with this? These are the times when they shut down, bring these things out and help the market. Now you're asking yourself, what happened to the IGPs? We are talking about what happened to the IGPs? Where are they going? How would they fit?
Yeah.
Now religious leaders, these are the times they're supposed to play their role. It is not a question of tithe and offering, bind and cast it. Now is the time we have to bind and cast, now or never. Because everybody must sit up there. Now, the major things like Nigeria especially now is this issue preventive that hygiene. Nigerians are not interested. 85% of Nigerians are not interested about aspect of their life. People are so reckless. Go to the market, go to the supermarket, sit the motor parks, and the students themselves. What do? We have to do now that if the government said that medical aid personnel should go around and educate Nigerians now or never. That could very much have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much. There's this attitude we have that observers have noted. You have just given an indication of it. People seem to be carrying on in spite of the sensitization campaigns, thinking that somehow they, not exactly immune, but there is no problem. There is no cause for alarm. And government has been careful to say they don't want to alarm anybody. We don't want, in fact, that's why government is being accused perhaps of being
It's not necessarily sounding alarmist if you sensitize the people. Then there's an impression we have. We think everybody is on WhatsApp. We think everybody is on social media. No, they are not. This is the time to
let me try Alhaji Tuko again. Mr. Mohammed Tuko, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Finally, we got you. Go ahead, please.
Well done.
Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Please go ahead. Good morning.
Okay. I just wanted to make my own contribution.
Yeah. What's the situation in Kaduna? Is Kaduna on lockdown or not?
I'm in Kaduna, so my intention to go back to Abuja, unfortunately, I can't go. It has been locked out.
Okay, and Kaduna has been locked down.
Yes, it's locked out. The governor has addressed us. Hello?
Please continue.
The Kaduna State governor has already addressed the Kaduna State people. So Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so he is addressing the people of the state that everybody stay home and nobody should go anywhere. The train station, they have suspended operation, and it's very difficult for anybody from here to travel to Abuja by road. So everywhere is locked down. So I think the next thing what he intended to do to get military security men into the city, because with all the Almajiri we have on the road.
Yeah.
So they have to take a serious action. And I believe that this is the best idea, because the Kaduna State government doesn't have the money, doesn't have anything that they can be able to contain this crisis. So prevention is better than cure.
Okay.
So I call on the federal government to do everything possible to shut down every state, every border. What I mean, border between state and state.
Yeah.
Whatever the limit of the date we can take, so that we can be able to control the situation.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Mohammed Tukur. And it's just as well that we kept on trying so that we finally got you. Stay safe and stay well. Now, Christopher in Wari, good morning, sir. Christopher? Christopher, can you hear us? We're ready for you. Well, Christopher is on the line there.
Good morning, Sir Okuyori.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please. Go right ahead.
I am so pleased to be a part of this program today. And I see everybody is calling for the total shutdown of Nigeria. But the issue is this. Most of people that have the idea of how Europe work or how America work, they should not use that perspective in judging Nigerian mentality. Every average Nigeria have its own kind of lifestyle is living. You can see the people that come from zoos. You see what they were talking about. The government on their own part have a measure they have tried to help the citizens. While the supermarket, like in Europe, we don't have like in better state here, we have what they call a free market. Okuyori, if you happen to be in a free market in Wari here, just like we have it in Lagos, Balogun market, if you shut down the system, average Nigerians that go there to look for their daily food, how will they quit? The most lucrative job in Nigeria today, as you know, is politicians. As you are a politician, you have a lot of money to take back home. The voters, they sweat and sweat every day to make sure they make their ends meet. The total economic solution to this issue, as it starts today, like in Delta State here today, by Thursday this week, all schools will be shut down. All schools will shut down in Delta, according to the governor. Now, if you shut down the schools, you shut down the market, what measure is the governor putting in place for those old women in the Budu market, in Hausa quarter? What measure are you putting on ground for them to feed in the next 30 days? So let's treat ourselves as human. It has happened, it has happened. Let's find a way of cautioning this epidemic that is affecting us. Thank you and God bless you in Lagos.
Thank you very much for calling in. It's a real dilemma because it's not as if, in fact, my guests in studio have made the point that you are making, that is to say, we are aware of the situation, but it looks like we're, how did the Igbo people put it, between a rock and a hard place.
A hard place, yeah.
You know, you stay at, you come out, it's a problem. You stay indoors, it's a problem. Because if Corona doesn't get you, then hunger will get you at home. So that's what we're trying to work out.
I think a lockdown is inevitable. But
Quite
what
frankly,
government has to show sensitivity to the idea of having a social safety net of some sort. And especially providing for the vulnerable in society during this period.
Okay, we'll see how all of that goes.
I personally think if you look at where we are coming from, at this time yesterday we are having, the first day we are having 10 cases, the previous day we are having 3, now we are having 4. So it shows that from 10 to 4 to 3,
it might not get better soon.
It might not get better soon, but I don't think it's getting worse by it. Let's just watch the airspace that have been shut down from yesterday. Let's see what happened this week. I think then.
We've now got to go, but thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming in and sharing your perspectives. And thank you at home as well for calling in and giving us your perspectives and what's in your environment. Thank you very much, Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed and Mr. Mayokun Ilo. Thank you, gentlemen. That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.